Good morning. Good morning. It is Wednesday. It's hump day. Hope your week's going well. So far, so good. The weather's warming up. We're on a warming trend for a few days now, so I'm looking forward to some sunshine and warmer temperatures. I want to talk to you for a few minutes today on the thought, we get in a rut, in a situation a lot of times where we feel like, well, if I could just move to a new place, if I could move to a new house, move to a new city, if I could just pack up and leave everything here behind and go off somewhere else, everything would be different. If I could just get a new job, if I could just go here and do that. And we get caught in that trap because there's so many people, and I'm guilty of it at times myself, thinking, well, I could just pack up and leave and move to the mountains or move to the beach, and we get so guilty of thinking that we could just take off, that the answer to our unhappiness is always somewhere else. And if we're not careful, we'll tell ourselves that if I just move to that new place, that if I get a new job, then things are going to finally get better. And we convince ourselves that our stress and our anxiety and our dissatisfaction is tied to our current surroundings. But here's the truth. The only peace that you're going to find in a new place is the peace that you bring with you. Thinking that changing the scenery is, and thinking that changing that scenery and how you feel about it is going to, I'm rambling now, but thinking about, changing that scenery and how it's going to change how you feel about everything, that's just a negative trance. It's a conditioned belief, I guess would be a better word for it, if you don't like the word trance. We've talked about that before. We're in and out of trances all day long. You're in a driving to work trance. You're in a watching a show trance. You're always in or out of a trance. You're either in a trance, coming out of one, or going into another one. Most of the time, if you're not being mindful about what's going on. And this thinking that changing your scenery is just another, that it's going to help, is just another negative trance. It's that conditioned belief that these external circumstances dictate your internal well-being. And like all negative trances, it just keeps you stuck. It keeps you powerless. And it keeps you searching for answers in all the wrong places. So I want to break it down for a little bit this morning and explore why running from problems never works. Why real change happens on the inside and external circumstances have nothing to do with true peace. And kind of give you some tips on how to actually create that peace that you're looking for, no matter where you are. And it's a practice. It's something that you have to cultivate. It's something that you have to work at every day. As we said earlier, moving feels like the answer, but it's not. On the surface, it makes sense. If your environment feels encumbering, if it feels chaotic, if it feels uninspiring, you'd think, well, leaving it behind would bring relief, right? Well, wouldn't a fresh start mean fewer problems, fewer reminders of the past, and help you build a better version of you? The thing is, that's just a fantasy. That fantasy of relocation taps into at least 3 different psychological tendencies. It's part of what we call an escape mentality. When you're faced with discomfort a lot of times that easiest solution seems to be just to remove yourself from the situation. But here's the thing. Your emotions, your thoughts, and your habits don't stay behind. You bring them with you. And then another psychological tendency that we run into when we have that kind of mindset is this fresh start effect. You know, a new place feels like a blank slate, a tabula rasa, so to speak, a new blank page to start writing your story on. But unless you've done the internal work, you're going to fall into the exact same patterns. Just in a different zip code, a different work environment, a different office building, a different house. It's still going to be the same. And then we like to romanticize the unknown. That's the thing, is with the unknown, we're either afraid of it or we're romanticizing it. And we idealize that new place, that new environment, that new surrounding, because we haven't lived there yet. We haven't experienced the same baggage in that place as we're carrying with us now. And so we romanticize it, and it's easy to believe that life is going to magically improve when you don't have the daily grind of your current reality attached to it. But that's just not the truth. And while moving can offer new experiences and new opportunities, it's still not going to erase those internal struggles that you're dealing with. It's like switching seats on the Titanic. Your surrounding may change, but a lot deeper issues remain. And so this is a negative trance, that negative trance of somewhere else thinking. You know, this belief that peace and happiness and fulfillment exist somewhere else is a form of false programming. It convinces you that you're powerless in your present and that relief is always just out of reach. You know, and so how do you know that you're stuck in one of these negative trances? Well, do you frequently daydream about just starting over every day in a new place? Or you blame your unhappiness on something outside of yourself? You know, your boss, your spouse, your kids, your co-workers, the guy that cut you off in traffic? Are you blaming your anger, your unhappiness, your frustration, your chaos on anything else other than your mindset? Or do you believe that this external change will automatically fix all of your internal struggles? Now, you've probably moved before in your lifetime, and you've changed jobs, and you've found new places to live and new houses, and you've done that before. Most of us have. But did anything really change? Probably not, because we carry the same baggage, the same problems with us. This illusion of escape that keeps us running, it keeps us chasing, it keeps us searching while we never really find peace. So where does this true peace come from? So if peace is not waiting for you in this new city, this new house, this new job, this new partner, this new mate, this new spouse, where does it come from? It comes from inside, from within you. It comes from how you respond to life, not where you experience it. First thing we got to do is understand our source of discontent. You know, our frustration, is it really about our location, or is it about a deeper pattern unresolved baggage, emotions, unprocessed trauma, or limiting beliefs that you've placed on yourself or other people have placed on you. Where is this feeling of unhappiness, discontentment coming from? Your environment may influence how you feel, but it's not the root cause of your emotional distress. There's deeper issues at hand. So we've got to learn to address this internal conflict. If you don't deal with what's bothering you now, it's going to follow you wherever you go. Before making any external changes, I encourage you to work on changing your internal perspectives. And tools like mindfulness, and I'm going to tell you that, mindfulness, self-reflection, journaling in a good way, in a right way to journal. And there are several ways to journal, but there's specific ways you can journal that will help you unpack and uncover some of this hidden mess. Hypnosis and hypnotherapy are excellent tools for this as well. And then we've got to learn to create peace wherever we are. Because when you realize peace is not a destination, it's actually a mindset. And you can cultivate peace through your daily habits. You can shift to a mindset of gratitude, shifting focus away from what's wrong to what's within your control. And when you develop this inner stability, these external circumstances lose their power over you. But now, having said all that, sometimes moving is the right choice. Changing houses, changing jobs, changing current situations is the right choice. Most of the time it's not, but there are times that it can be beneficial. And it makes sense, especially if you're in a toxic environment. If you're in abusive relationships, physical or verbal abuse, if you're in unsafe neighborhoods, if you're in a job where safety is no concern to the management and the bosses and owners, then change is definitely in order. Or change if you're looking to grow your career or other growth opportunities that align better with your long-term goals. And your physical health concerns, So the climate you live in may not be the best climate for your physical concerns, which leads me to think about, people used to move like, I've got allergies real bad here. We're moving to Arizona, we're moving to the desert. And they move out there, but the thing is they take all the plants and flowers and everything they were allergic to here out there with them, and then they can't understand why they're not getting better from their allergies. But there are times when moving is a better choice for your physical health and your mental health concerns. The key difference is in why you're moving. If you're running away from problems rather than moving towards something meaningful, this cycle is going to repeat. If you're considering this move, ask yourself, am I expecting this move to fix something internal? Am I looking for it to fix all of this baggage that I've been carrying with me? And really stop and think, have I actually done the inner work to ensure that I'm not going to carry these same problems with me when I take off somewhere else? Am I running from discomfort, or am I moving toward a better opportunity for growth and engagement? And if the move is intentional and it's aligned with your growth, then it can be a powerful step. If it's fueled by trying to run away from your problems or wishful thinking, then it's probably going to lead to disappointment. So how do you break free from this negative trance? How, if you've been stuck in this illusion that happiness is always somewhere else, it's time to wake up from that negative trance. It's time to change your mindset. And you do that by shifting your focus, changing your focus to internal perspective. You know, as I said earlier, start journaling about what's causing you dissatisfaction. I'll be happy to work with you. You can come have a seat in the chair, and we can get in touch with that unconscious mind and see what subconscious beliefs that are going on inside that are keeping you stuck. And work on self-awareness. Pay attention to your patterns before taking them to a new place and just repeating them. And then cultivate that peace where you are. You know, practice gratitude. Be grateful for the things that are good in your current situation. No matter how bad something seems, if you really stop and look, you can find something good in that situation. And by doing that, you develop habits. These habits that support your mental well-being. You know, habits like meditation, mindfulness, breathing, movement, creative outlets, art, writing, poetry. And you learn to enjoy your own company. Most people couldn't stand to be alone with themselves for about 5 minutes. It's when you learn to enjoy your own company that there's really no such thing as loneliness. Solitude is a lot different than loneliness. I like my solitude. I like my solitary time. I need time for myself to recharge and replenish and to reflect on what's going on in my life. But solitude is a lot different than loneliness. So learn to enjoy your own company. And then begin to challenge this fantasy of somewhere else is better. You know, picture yourself in that new place and really think about what problems would still exist there. Remind yourself that discomfort is a part of life no matter where you go. And when you recognize that, then you realize you have the power to improve your life. You can improve it now, not just after a move. And so, truth about change. Real change happens inside first. If you're unhappy where you're at, simply changing the scenery is not going to make much of a difference. The only lasting peace is the one that you cultivate within yourself. Because it doesn't matter where you go, you bring yourself with you. So before you pack your bags and chase that illusion that life's going to be magically better somewhere else, ask yourself, what am I really looking for? What can I do to create that right here, right now? And, you know, if I change nothing but my location, is anything really going to change? Again, the answer to your peace is not a new address. It's not a new mind. It's not a new job. It's not a new house. It's not a new place to work or live. It's that mindset. It's a new mindset, and you don't need a plane ticket. And with the price of plane tickets right now, that's probably a good thing. You don't need a moving truck. You don't need any of that to find what you're looking for. You need awareness. You need intention. And you need a willingness to do the real work. Because when you finally break free from the trance of somewhere else is better, you'll realize that the peace you've been chasing, it was there all along. Kind of like Dorothy with her ruby slippers. She had the power with her all along. It was there waiting for you to find it. So take a few minutes today and stop and think. If you've been contemplating making a big change just so things would get better, maybe change how you look at it and do some introspection. Do some inner work first. And you might find that peace that you've been looking for. Well, I want to thank all of y'all for tuning in with me. And you can always go back and check the lives later. I try to set them up where they're always here. So you can do a search and find it later if you want to go back and look at some of them. If you missed part of it at the beginning, you can always go back and watch it there. But again, thank you.